Okay, my people, so this video is going to be me breaking down a live $6,000 deal where I show you exactly the process that I use that's generated me over $1.5 million in cash collected literally in the space of 12 months. I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly how to challenge a high ego prospect, how it works, why they say the things that they do so that you can close more deals, you can make more money, and ultimately you can start running the business that you want to run, make the money and you want to make. Without further ado, we will just jump straight to the call.
Hey Jack, how's it going?
Okay.
Marcus, my man, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I appreciate you asking, man. Where are you from?
Originally from Denver, Colorado, but I'm living in New York City now.
New York City. Okay, cool. I can hear you. I can't see you though, bro.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a good spot. I'm traveling for the holidays, so I'm not.
Always say that if somebody doesn't have their camera on. No one is getting out. No one is jumping on a call with me without their camera on. And the best way to do this, I think Jeremy Minor might have even said this once, and I just never forgot it. He's the GOAT, by the way. I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Typical work setup, so I'm trying to find a good place to get situated. Bear with me for a minute or two.
What is it you do for work?
Currently, right now, I'm in a private equity consulting, but technically, it's like mergers and acquisitions for some of the larger PE funds.
Yeah. All right, cool, bro. How long have you been doing that?
Full time, about a year, but I've done some different experiences for the past
You see how it's just kind of naturally flowing like a conversation, water pause. And this is the best way that I've found to do it, and the best way that I've been taught and learned and implemented myself is just keep it flowing like a normal conversation. You can see that the background, yeah, it's a little bit girly. It wasn't like my typical working space, but what it is it holds professional frame. Like the lighting is good, the background's cool, like it's aesthetic, you know? 3
years off and on. So it's been some good experiences for sure.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Where are you located?
I'm actually in Germany right now, but I just got here today. So I'm here for another few days and I fly back to the UK and then back to Miami in like a couple of weeks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So just like already implying that I'm like traveling, living the life, you know?
Man, for sure. You could have just jumped straight into this then, brother. Is that all right?
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah, cool. So the whole point of this for us to really get to understand about you, like what you actually want out of life, what you've tried to get out of life, what's worked, what hasn't, why it's worked, why it hasn't. When we understand this, or when you understand this, you can make the best decision for you. Whether that is moving ahead of us or not, I don't mind. The idea of it is just for you to understand which path you actually want to take. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I've been partnered with Sean for a little while now, like the last 7 to 8 months. I run my own store, I've been through the program, coach a little bit outside of the program as well. So insights, questions, we'll run through them as we go. All right, bro?
Got it. Oh, sounds good.
So straight away, high frame of like, look, like this call is all about you, gonna understand, like it's not really setting a frame. Like typically what I do on these calls is like, this is all about you. This is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna do it. To be honest, even that much of a frame I tend to steer away from these days. This call is from a little while ago now, maybe in like December time.
Sweet. So my first question, brother, where should we start? Like what is actually driving you to make more money with an e-commerce business right now?
Essentially what's probably driving me the most is just being able to have that flexibility to support my folks back home. Like I've pretty much got myself covered doing this other stuff that I'm involved with. So it's not like I need anymore. But the main driver behind like wanting to get into it and scale another revenue stream is just giving some help to my folks.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What kind of help do you want to give them that you can't typically do now?
You see how now it's basically just like I'm stretching the gap already. Like asking him what he wants by making more money takes away the answer of, okay, I just want to make more money. That way he can't give me that same bullshit, you know? He's just told me he wants to give the flexibility to provide for his folks. The reason why is about to come up, or like the way that he wants to do that is this.
Send him probably like what, 10K a month. Just get set him up, buy him a crib, you know, all the things that everybody wants to do.
Typical stuff, right? With high ego people, they'll always try to externalize it and make it just seem like their goals are just, it's what everybody wants to do. It's like, oh wow, okay, like everybody, you need to remove that from the call. There's somebody keeps saying, well, you have to do, like, you always have to set big goals, or you always have to do this. It's like, no, what you have to do is something different, you know?
It's no different than anybody else. The regular things, for sure.
I mean, like, let's put everybody to the side, bro, and like fully focus on you, because 99% of people have these dreams, bro, never really do something about it. So I'm curious around like where you're actually at with it. So in terms of this, when you say the flexibility to support your folks, if we go a layer deeper on that, like what is it that you mean by flexibility?
Just more resources to be able to have the flexibility to like turn it up a little bit more if it's needed, or turn it down a little bit more if it's needed, if that makes sense.
If that makes sense. Obviously, it doesn't really make sense.
Because currently, like, I make good money for me. It's not like for everybody that I love and care about, if that makes sense.
Kind of, yeah, I can understand what you mean when you say you make good.
Kind of, yeah. It's like, kind of, yeah, I get it. Implies that I know he's not being direct with me. And so I just need to be hella direct with him to be able to get the response that I need.
Money for you. Like if we go like just lay it like deeper than the surface level for a sec, bro, we can go like, because obviously you know what you mean when you say turn it up, turn it down, and have more resources. Like I just don't really like, I'm not quite getting a picture of like where you're at, you know? So in terms of this, maybe an easier way to ask is like, well, how much money do you actually make right now?
Around like a little bit over 10 a month.
Yeah, okay. Is that what, like 11, 12, 15 or?
It's literally just like a little bit over 10. It's nothing
Okay, bro. And you've been in that position for like 1 year, you mentioned.
See, most people would just say 10, but he feels the need to say a little bit over 10. Like it just, if you earn like 10.1k a month, like would you not just say 10? The reason that I highlight that is because it's just beginning to show like he's very vague and like he doesn't want to give me concrete answers, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty much been a year.
Okay. All right. Can you not give back to your folks anyway, earning 10k a month, because that's like pretty much better than like, what 90% of people anyway? So
the reason why I'm doing this is because I tried to go into the future, but he's not really allowing that as much. You know, he's trying to just give me like turn it up, turn it down, a little bit of vagueness here and there. So instead what I'll do is I'll go to the current and then stretch it into the future, because then I can get a good understanding. How I always typically structure calls is like future, current, past. And so if somebody's refusing to go future, I'll then have to skip it, go current, then future, then past, right? With calls, this is why it's so important not to have a word track or a script, because you need to be flexible and adaptable with the conversation, basically, yeah?
Yeah, no, I definitely can. But I want to be able to do it in like a bigger way, if that makes sense. Like just essentially level up the level that I'm able to do it at, if that makes sense.
Okay. So you mentioned you want to bring in like another revenue stream to do this. Like when you say another revenue stream, is you got...
My bad. My apologies.
No, you're good, bro. You want to take a sec?
No, it's all good. It's all good.
No worries, homie. Sweet. Okay, so obviously you've been like, you want to get another revenue stream. Do you have any other revenue streams at all?
I mean, I have like some investments, but it's not a cash flow business, and it's not a crazy large amount that
You have to pick up on language patterns as well, right? Like a revenue stream. What does a revenue stream mean? Like, how is that even relevant? Do you know what I mean? Like, when you say you want a revenue stream, like that's a very kind of like corporate term to use. Like, I want another revenue stream, or what type of revenue streams do you have? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so important to pick up on the language that they're using, because you can start to dissect it and pick it apart bit by bit.
It's returning a decent amount, but it's not like I'm trying to get taxed at a short-term capital gains tax with like a 30-40% clip. So it's where it's at right now.
Yeah, rough. Okay. All right. How long have you actually wanted to get like another revenue stream going?
I've done some things in the past. Had another like online sort of business that I was running with a partner. Never actually able to get to an agreement of like actually launching the product, because they were very particular and wanting to perfect it before putting anything out into the market, before letting...
Boom, bit of externalization. I did try to do this before, like I tried to do something before, but the person that I was partnered with was very particular around X. What does that imply? That implies that he has not taken ownership for his actions. He's put his success on somebody else.
It'd go, which realistically it's like a little bit backwards. You just got to put something out there and let the market kind of give you some feedback and some data points so that you can adjust it that way. But that's pretty much the only other thing that I've done. There's been a few other like ventures, but not that I like really invested a lot of my time in, to be honest.
Okay. A couple of things I want to touch on now. You mentioned your online biz was with a partner, right? Like a business partner?
Yeah.
Okay. How long ago was that?
I think it started in like 2020, spring of 2020.
2020. Well, okay.
Maybe spring of 2021, and then I ended up leaving that.
Always react to the timelines, yeah? Like, this is so crucial. Like, it's these small things that many people miss out on. Business owners, closers, they get lost in the call because they're like, oh, 2020, oh, it's only a few years ago. And then they kind of lose leverage because they haven't put the steps into the call that's required to be able to actually draw the right information out of people. So they end up asking these questions, going, question, rather than go question, right? Like, this is so fucking key to be able to get actually what you want.
Okay.
Like last year. So it's been about a year.
Mm-hmm. All right. So it's been like a year since you left. Did you make, and you mentioned you didn't manage to launch from that at all?
No, he was very difficult. Didn't want to put anything out. So.
Okay. What do you feel actually like stopped you stepping out on your own?
That time I was still in school and I was doing that on the side, and like it was at the time I felt like a very good opportunity. Had alignment with it, but I just could never get him to like want to launch anything. So that's kind of
Okay.
where I was at, and I just kept on going through it.
Can I challenge you for a sec, bro? Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
See, now I'm implementing the challenge, right? Like straight away, that's my first step to take in the frame. Getting a permission slap, as someone would call it, Carl so would call it a permission slap. I would just call it like a permissions challenge, right? When you get a permissions challenge, it decreases the hesitation. It's what's called signposting. You say you're going to do something before you then do it. Because then it decreases the hesitance, it kind of gives them an understanding that, okay, I'm going to do this. Kind of like if you say to someone like, I don't mean to be rude, boom. Like, you're going to say something rude, like with all due respect, you're going to say something disrespectful most likely, right? So it's very crucial to get these little things in.
If your business partner was like the issue and he was the one who's ultimately like holding the weights down, sinking the ship, would it be fair to say that the logical step would be to jump ship and to actually change the path?
Exactly, which is what I did like a year ago. So I'm not doing that anymore. But yeah, I mean, I gave it some time. I mean, I was obviously still in school at the time, still, working. So it was something that I was doing on the side. So it wasn't anything like I was taken away from what I had going on. But honestly, I feel like if there wasn't that block, then things could have got off a lot quicker rather than going through 3 years waiting for somebody that.
So he's now said, if there wasn't that block, then he would have been successful. He's now put a block in the way, a mental roadblock of like someone else taking control. But at the end of the day, he could have done what's required. Like he could have actually taken the step. He just didn't.
Get ready to jump off the porch. That makes sense.
Of course, yeah. It's always frustrating, man, and I get it when there are people who aren't ready to take action like you are. If you don't mind me being direct.
Kind of like labeling him, like if they're not ready to take action like you are, getting him to understand like, he obviously was ready to take action, and just planting small seeds along the way will really, really fucking help. If you find, like, don't force it, but if you can find a way to actually do it, it's going to be so helpful for you at the end of the call, because you begin to water these seeds and you can start to bring it back up and grow the plant essentially, right? Bit of a mad analogy, but
the thing that was holding you back was the business owner. Like that was the weight that was lapped around your belt loops, basically holding you back from taking the steps. If you're with them for 3 years, knowing the logical step would be to jump ship, you mentioned you did. What was the transition? Like, what did you actually do to get another revenue stream?
I essentially moved to New York and started the role that I'm in today. So that's essentially the step that I took. Just took a step back. We ended up closing up the business and focused on short work. And doing
actual work. Like, again, like picking up on this language is so key, because him saying actual work is then implying that, like, on at least the way that I interpreted it, maybe it's a little bit egotistical on my side, but the way that I interpret someone saying that is like they don't believe that online work is actual work, it's because it's with actual businesses. This guy's like, he manages like a bunch of money every quarter for like multiple different big businesses. You'll see, it's so interesting.
When you say
acquisitions.
Yeah, that's cool. Mergers and acquisitions can obviously be extremely like lucrative as a 9 to 5. When you say actual work, like what do you mean exactly?
Like actually like working on companies that like are generating revenue rather than trying to get this dude to agree to launch something to get any sort of cash in the door, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because you can go back and forth and debate as long as you want about how a certain product looks, but at the end of the day, like there's other companies that are actually generating revenue and need help and need people to like work on it. You know what I'm saying? So instead of working on a company that was some time away from generating revenue.
I don't do this, but what would have been really good for me to say here at this point in time is like, yeah, there's definitely companies who are producing revenue. So what ultimately stopped you from starting your own company that was doing revenue then? That would have then spun the spotlight on him and been like, yeah, cool, that didn't work. What stopped you from doing that? That then would have channeled the conversation and the direction a lot better and a lot bigger. This call isn't just always about like flexing about how good I am. Like there are points that I do wrong and have done wrong. I've watched this call back like 6 times, and I genuinely feel that if I'd have done that, it would have made this call a lot shorter than it actually is.
So working on companies that were generating revenue, if that makes sense.
Yes and no, because I can see the thought process behind what you're saying. The only thing that's kind of like a little bit still grey is, was there anything actually holding you back from you leaving the business partner, starting your own business, so that you don't have to like just...
No, my thing was essentially just like having the loyalty and staying down, giving it a go, like a real true solid like try to make it work, even if like we weren't seeing eye to eye on some things. So that was really the only thing. It wasn't necessarily him was holding me back. It was me like trying to make it work and trying to get him to launch something. So then I tried, and once I did, it didn't work.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, all right, how long do I stick with it until we see the results? That's essentially like what I was doing, because I still believed in the vision and all the other shit. But at a certain point,
do you need to take a step?
Huh?
Do you need to take a step?
No, I'm good.
No, okay, cool, no problem. I wasn't sure if like you needed to like reply to someone's message or something.
Because he looks like he's just talking on his phone now, and I'm not going to accept that when, like, if you're on my call, you know, whether I'm a closer or a business owner, whatever the fuck I am, it doesn't matter. Like, you need to be a certain authority on the call, but in a polite way, yeah? Like, it's not like, get off your phone. It's like, do you want to take a sec? By the way, I can see that you're messaging someone. That's just hella disrespectful otherwise.
I mean, that's all.
Yeah, no, I did have just something come through, but it's all good.
Yeah, all right, cool, no worries. And so, like, when we break it down then, did you actually try on your own?
No, I didn't just start anything up after that. Essentially what I did was just take a step back from that, rest, go work on these like real business problems on big businesses and essentially try to just learn as much as I can. And now we're back around for the second time, if that makes sense. Because I'm not going to just like pivot into something immediately if I'm not 100% sure like what I want to do, if that makes sense.
To a certain degree, yeah. Like, what if I challenge you for a sec? Like, what are you 100% sure on in your life, bro?
Trying to get this business going online. So I've been 10 toes on that. Essentially just been trying to find what I align with and what I can see myself doing. And hence being on the call. I didn't know we were gonna be in 21.
This is very important what he's about to say in a moment. And before I do that, like, when he says like just trying to find what I align with, like, okay, I should have put like an arm around the shoulder, like, yeah, okay, like what you're trying to find it, I get it. Just trying to find ways though, like what's the return on that? Like, how much money can you make from that? What's the return on investment? How much progress can you actually make from just looking? Get him to understand that the return on investment for just searching and finding is keeping himself in a loop of just delay. It's already been going on. This would have been 4 years at this point, right? This was back in 2024, this call, and now we're in April 2025. But I just wanted to highlight it because it's a fucking good point. Like, it doesn't matter what vehicle he aligns with, right? Because at the end of the day, like, what I would say to him now, based on the skill level that I have, I would have then turned around and said, well, do you align with retiring or helping your folks and buying them a crib and actually putting them in the position that you want to? Okay. Do you really care how you get there? Are you willing to do whatever it takes to get there? Okay, so what is it that's causing you to want to find more alignment with the vehicle rather than looking for more alignment with your destination? And it would have brought him to an answer later where he says, well, I just need to listen to my intuition more, which is what he begins to say. But here he says, I didn't realize this was all going to be 21 questions. Look, listen.
Questions. I thought I was going to be able to ask you questions about what the opportunity is and what the community is. And
15 minutes into the call, he's trying to take the frame. This is why it's so crucial to understand. As a closer, you can never let people walk over you, ever. You have to have the fucking strong core. You have to sit there and let people just like literally punch you up. But you just have to be ready to take it. Like, nothing can hurt you as a closer. You have to be strong. You have to have a fucking backbone. You can't let these people take over the frame of the call. Most people would have been like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, what questions do you want? But listen to how I respond to this.
Right, obviously you've been through it.
At the end of the day, man, like, I'm not here to sell you a program. I'm not here to like make, if you have like an investment, just because you have the investment doesn't mean that we're going to actually accept you onto the program.
Because no, that makes sense.
Whatever has stopped you being successful before, I want you to know, like, it will stop you again. And so the idea of this is not for me to unnecessarily challenge you and give you 21 questions. The idea of this is for you to get out of your own way. And like, if you're not ready to do that, bro, like, that's okay. I'm not here to tell you what you'd like to hear. I'm not here to be one of those pushover guys. Like, I'm here to tell you what you fucking need to hear and be direct with you. And if you don't want that, like, that's okay. I'm not here to break any hearts or to, like, you know.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Make any enemies.
No, you're 100% right. So my apologies.
My apologies. Boom. There we go. Right? Because I know that deep down he's actually probably a really nice guy, but he's a big corporate guy, deals with a bunch of money every quarter for all of these different billion dollar businesses, whatever. He thinks of just coming onto a sales call with like a fucking sales guy, econ guy, whoever he thinks that I am. He thinks that he has now a stronger frame than me. I can't accept that, or I can't show signs of accepting that, because otherwise he'll just walk all over me and he'll give me objection after objection. And he'll actually respect, because it probably calls up like PAs, like personal assistants, and it's like, yeah, put me through to this person, and they just put him through. Any questions asked. So there's probably an element of him that can understand, okay, he's used to kind of just walking over people in a way, and that way you can actually put the steps forward. So crucial, man, so key.
No need to apologise at all, brother. Like, we're on the same page, man. Yeah. So if I can be...
Do you see how I'm just diffusing it? Like, don't even apologise, bro. It's fine. Like, it's all okay. Like, we're on the same page. We're on the same team, you know?
Direct with you for a sec there, Marcus. Like, obviously you didn't try it on your own. I don't want to, like, continue being circular. I'm just trying to help you get to the point.
No, we can go into it. We can go into it, honestly. So, like, there's a bunch of other factors that, like, go into it. So the reason why I didn't try is because I've had these mentors over the past, like, year or two, that have essentially, like, pointed me towards this role that I'm in currently. Okay. And so the reason why I, like, essentially just held off on doing something else is because these people are wildly successful in what they do. And so I feel like for me at the time, trying to do something else rather than what they pointed me to would be a disservice to the learning and the opportunity that they had felt lied for me in this role. So like I could break it down a little bit more. Like they run their own like private equity funds. Like,
Yeah, I can imagine.
So they're very, very successful, very, very successful people. So in my head, pivoting to go do something else on my own, I would essentially just listen to them, suck it the fuck up, stay down, and go learn the business and go learn the craft. That's why I didn't try to pivot into something else on time.
Okay.
At the time. So now I'm into the role, I'm settled into the role, good at my craft, good at the job. And I feel like I can now take more on, actually pursue that, because I still have, like, at the end of the day, this deep intuition and this deep voice inside of me that's saying,
there you go. Do you see how now when you challenge a high ego prospect, you're getting fucking deep? I've literally seen business owner after business owner after business owner lose deals when people like this come onto the call, even if they're not successful, even if they have high ego and, even if they have like a high ego and a low income, like falsifying their own ego out of insecurity. I see so many people lose deals to this. And just being able to sit in the pocket and have a polite and direct style of communication where you don't offend, don't cause resistance or hesitation, something that I struggled with for so long. So when I actually got it in the pocket and understood exactly how I can communicate to these people and provide the style of communication that I want them to buy into, this is then the result that you get. You start to be able to get people to tell you about the deep intuitions, the deep voice inside their head. You really think he would have been willing to tell me that at the top of the call where he's just saying, I just want to buy my folks a crib like everybody else does, you know? Like, absolutely not. Being able to challenge and direct these people in this conversation is so crucial to anyone's success.
like, you should still pursue.
And I respect that.
If that makes sense. So it's like, I'm like cutting the between, it's like listening to these people that like have been in that career for 20 years, doing it at the top of the level, and then also like following my intuition that's telling me that like I can be doing more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I used to get that all the time, brother, because you're caught between like paradise or a tropical island, right? It's like, which one do you really go for? And when
the reason why that's important to relate to him on that level is it's because it's like, it's a painful thing. For example, when I was closing, I always had a deep intuition telling me, go to be a business owner, go to be a business owner, go to be a business owner. There's more in there for you, there's higher leverage. But I never listened to that, and that was actually painful. So even if you can't really relate, find a way to relate, because when you find a way to relate, it allows people to kind of open up and be less resistant to you, and this way you actually just enjoy the call more. There's no stress behind it. You actually just fly and rock and roll and love and life. It's so important to do this, you know.
How long have you had these mentors?
Pretty much a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay. All right. So when you say like this kind of deep intuition that you've been like hearing in your voice and these kind of higher frequency voices within your head, how long have they been going on?
Probably like 4 years. I mean, that was probably one of the reasons that had me start up the other business too. So it's always been there. It's been there for as long as I can remember. It's been there the whole throughout time, like starting up that business, going through that process, getting that learning experience, and also working with somebody else, trying to see eye to eye when maybe necessarily it wasn't the right thing to do. But it's always been there. It's not like it's ever gone away. It's been there for some years now. And try to act on it with the other one and try to like see that one through. But once you kind of get to the realization that that's not necessarily for you and that's someone else's vision that they can go pursue, let it go, learn a little bit more, and then iterate again. And then, that's kind of where we're at right now. And tried it, failed, learned, iterating, and then now we're going to try the feedback loop again.
Okay. So when it comes to listening to your intuition and actually taking action on your intuition, what do you feel if this has always been the case, has your intuition led you up to this point? Would you say? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Can you truthfully say that you are 100% happy with the point that you're at now?
I think there's definitely a couple of different perspectives to look at it through. So like yes and no. Like I'm also trying to take a long-term view on like what I want to do in this life. So I mean, this past year I've essentially worked on over $2 billion in revenue for all the companies that I've worked on. And
like, that's obviously very, like $2 billion, like it sounds cool. And to be fair, like it probably is a big thing to him. And fair play for him doing exactly what he's doing, because it clearly means a lot.
I mean, I'm happy about that for sure. But essentially the way that all the work that I've done so far, necessarily the value doesn't end up in my pocket. It ends up in somebody else's. So I'm doing good work. It's just not going in my pocket. So I'm happy. Yes. I'm content, but not complacent. Abound and abashed. I'm not sure if you like super into faith or anything like that, but there's this Bible quote. Forget which one it is. I can probably find it, but it says, abound and abashed. I've essentially found the way to be hungry, but content with where I'm at.
Okay.
So that's like a long term to say yes, but I want to do more.
Okay. So if you're happy with where you're at, would it actually not make more sense to just stay where you're at rather than actually take a risk and potentially
bring the bullshit to the front of the call? Meaning that if somebody says like they're happy with where they're at, then just say like, well, why not change? Why not stay the same? Why not stay exactly where you're at right now? Because if you're happy, the discomfort that is required through change is actually going to make you severely unhappy. So why not just stay in the same position as to where you're at? That makes the most sense. That way, you're using their current situation and you're using that as an opponent to their current perspective. That way, they start to disagree with their current perspective or their current situation and start to provoke new thoughts in their mind. Because if you actually start to do this to yourself for a sec, are you 100% happy with your current situation? If you're 100% happy, I doubt you'd even be watching a video on how you can improve sales, or watch somebody who is fucking extremely good at sales review their own call and give them self-feedback. Because there's always areas of our life that we're unhappy with. Then we need to understand, well, what do we need to change in order to become happier or more satisfied or have more success in that area?
actually fail again?
I mean, that's what life is about.
Okay. Because if I was 100% happy, bro, like I don't know about you, but if I was like chilling, I would just put my feet up. I wouldn't take any risk because yes, I enjoy taking risk as an entrepreneur. However, there comes a point where you just don't need to take the risk. It's like UFC fighters, right? Or like boxers. They come to a certain age where the risk just isn't worth the reward anymore because they've earned their money, they've done their shows. It's time to hang up the gloves, basically. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. If I can challenge you for a sec without being like super direct, what is it that's actually driving you to do more though?
I mean, like I said before.
So the reason that I did that was to redirect the conversation in the same way, but with a different question. So rather saying going down the other route, you then opt for like, well, why is it that you're pushing for more? He's going to tell me why he's pushing for more, and then why he's pushing for more is exactly why he's not happy, basically. Does that make sense? So you can redirect the question and actually put it in a different way. And if you don't know how to do this, then when you learn how to do this, you're going to make so much more money, close more deals. And also one thing I want to highlight, do you notice how the complete flow of this call has completely shifted? The ideation or the vibe of this call has shifted. Like, we're on the same page now, you know, we can communicate on the level that I have brought him to, essentially.
It really comes down to being able to provide for the people that I love at a higher level than I am right now.
And you see how now we've gone like current and now we're stretching into the future a little bit here.
That's the only reason. And I know like currently the path that I'm on, like I'll get there. It's just a longer term time horizon.
There you go. See, so what actually happened was he realized that, well, he's actually just explained to me, whether he realized it or not, was that the reason why he wants to change, the reason why he's not 100% happy, is because it's going to take him far longer than he wants to be able to achieve that. Now, thinking about it now, the route that I definitely could have gone down is like, well, why not wait 5 to 8 years? You know, I can't even remember if I do this, but why not wait 5 to 8 years? Then he's going to maybe say something that's happened in his family. What was the specific moment that you realized that you didn't want to wait that amount of time? What was the turning point? What made you realize? How many, like, there's so many different questions that you can ask to get the fucking source out of him to understand that's why. Maybe his parents are in trouble health-wise. Maybe his parents are in trouble financially. You know, challenging him more on his goal or getting him to expand more on his goal is going to be so crucial to getting an elaborate picture of where he wants to go.
I don't know if I'm okay with that.
Boom. I don't know if I'm okay with that.
Okay. I know we don't have a time machine or a crystal ball. Like, how much longer do you feel?
I should have just said why not. Like, why not would have been such a better question to ask here.
Excuse me, how much longer do you feel it would actually take if you were to just continue on the same path?
I mean, shit, probably like 5 to 7 years.
I'm pretty sure he just told me that, so I don't even know what young Jack was doing here. He clearly was just a bit too involved in the call.
Which is, it's not like a long time by any means, for sure.
Okay. Well,
like anywhere between 5 to 10, for sure.
Okay, 5 to 10. Okay. So you mentioned before that you're not okay with that, which I respect. If we go a layer deep,
I'm not.
Why?
I should have challenged the laughing as well, because now he's laughing and like that, this is not funny.
99% of people would be, because they don't want to face the uncomfortability of change. As I'm sure you know yourself, living in New York City, I imagine you meet all different types of characters.
Yeah.
So the question to you is like, why are you not one of those types of people? Like, why?
There we go.
Why are you not okay with that?
I think for me, it's just a factor of pushing myself to be the best that I could possibly be. And where I'm at right now, I feel like I'm close, but not there yet. And for some reason now, I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice if I don't try to do more and decrease that. Like, because at the end of the day, all I want to do is just keep my hands busy.
Yeah, of course. I get that. And obviously beyond keeping your hands busy, there's everything else that we've already mentioned, right? Like
exactly. But I genuinely do like the actual work in the process of like learning a new skill and then applying that skill and then like learning, perfecting, iterating, you know what I'm saying, triangulating, and then executing.
It's so like, as men of self-improvement, that's just typically what we do. We try, we implement, we refine, and we repeat.
Do you notice why that's important, actually? Because when you say as men of self-improvement, you're putting yourself in the same group. Like, there's so many small intricacies here that anyone can pick up on, whether you're a business owner, a closer, an agency owner, a growth operator. It doesn't really matter whether you're a sales manager, whether you're fucking Jeff Bezos watching this, right? Like, so many little intricacies that you can pick up on like a sales call. I'm not saying that I'm better at sales than Jeff Bezos in any way. I don't know how great he is as a sales manager. He's pretty good, but maybe that's an over exaggeration, actually, to be fair. But no, I was trying to keep it super raw and authentic. But at the end of the day, like, there's so many areas in which you can pick up on and be like, fuck, okay, this is like the avenue of which I can step down. There's so many areas of which you can also look at and be like, right, I need to implement this. And so as I describe it and explain exactly why I'm doing it, you implement the same thing in your own style. If you want to ask me any questions, then you can literally drop me a follow on Instagram, drop me a DM, or comment on one of my things, and I'll literally send you a DM, and I can answer any questions that you have literally for free. This is what I love doing. I love helping people. So if you want to actually get exactly the same fucking source and you want to contact me one-to-one, my Instagram is in the description. Go and drop me a follow right now before you go and watch any more of this.
Until we get a proven process that actually works. Okay, so when you say you want to be the best that you can be, the 2.0 markers, if you want to call it that, what does that version of you actually look like in comparison to now?
I would say doing the same things, but just taking it a little step further. Utilizing, because I know, like, in the current job that I have sometimes.
Perfect question to ask here would have been, in what ways do you want to take it further that you're not right now? That way, like, he's got, like, all of, like, I can expand on what he needs to do that he's not doing.
Where, like, I'll just look at my phone and just, like, disconnect on Instagram or TikTok, and I don't necessarily want to disconnect on that type of time. I want to disconnect from work, but also still be working. So now it's just like the empty scrolling. It's just like, I want to actually be useful in the time that, like, I do have outside of the job that I have, if that makes sense. And productive.
Yeah, of course. Screen time can be a tricky one, catches up on you very quickly. I notice it myself sometimes, where I go to quite extreme measures to make sure that I don't. And I imagine it's somewhat similar. When you say you can continue doing, I don't mean to cut you off, by the way. I'm just interested in your story. You say if you continue doing the same thing, you'll get there. But you need to take one step further to actually be that. Like, what is that one step that you feel you need to take that you haven't taken yet?
I think it's really just going all in on an online business that's me, and not having like a distraction or another business partner that's like saying one thing when my intuition is telling me to just go and run. You know what I'm saying? And I think at the end of the day, the skill set of doing this is extremely valuable. So in whatever ends up being the ultimate thing that I do, I think that the skill set is something that's extremely valuable. So I think with that skill set and then the thought process and frameworks that I'm already building out, I mean, it's never going to be a done deal. You know what I'm saying?
See how, like, what prospects will do is they'll always give you the first thing, then cushion, especially like a high ego guy like this. Yeah, we're having a better conversation. What's important to understand, though, is that he's still cushioning all of the deep answers because he feels like vulnerable with it, you know? He's highlighted the step to me that he needs to take. I then drill down on that, like, what is stopping you from taking that step? What do you need to overcome to start taking those steps? What's stopping you from listening to your intuition? How long have you not been doing that? If you had listened to your intuition 3 years ago, what position could you be in today? Because 10K a month, yeah, it's great, but, like, you know, is that as far as your capability stretches? Is that all you're capable of? Do you feel that you're able to achieve more in your life than just 10K a month? Because at the end of the day, like, what really is 10K a month? It's just a fucking number. It doesn't really integrate much freedom into someone's life, you know?
And, like, this is something that's going to be continued to iterate, you know, 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, like, every single year. Like, it's not like I'm going to be done after I get this skill. It's going to be like, all right, get this, run it, learn it, try, fail, execute.
Because
and then just keep on stacking.
Sorry, bro. Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's all. I mean, just keep on stacking. I mean, stacking days, stacking skills.
Definitely, man. The 2.0 version of you always changes. When you get there, it's just the next 2.0, the next 2.0.
You see how, like, I missed that because, like, because of my lack of skill back then. Also, because when people cushion, it's like so easy to get like dragged in with everything else because they're hoping that you don't pick up. It's always the first thing that they give you. Always the first thing.
Oh, it's the next peak, it's the next mountain, and so on and so forth. And it's a never-ending game. It's a tunnel that never ends. Yeah. Okay. So ultimately, the step further is going all in on the biz for yourself, a biz that is you, a biz that you can control. Yeah. What do you feel needs to change internally so that you can actually go all in?
I think internally, it's just the only thing I really needed to change was just a decision that had to be made. That like I'm not gonna like do this for another 3 years and to have someone that never launch a product. That's crazy. That's insanity. You know what I'm saying? Like just the decision had to be made that all right, this is what I'm gonna go do. I'm gonna go do it. I feel like that's really the only thing.
Okay. All right. So what is it that actually like? Do you feel there's anything that you actually need to let go of so that you can go all in?
It's a bit of a weak question, and I'll tell you why. Rather than saying like, do you feel that there's anything that you need to let go of, it would have been much better to ask, what is it that you need to let go of, or what is it that you need to overcome in order to actually take the step? Because he doesn't really like to go negative too often. So looking at this now in terms of the language that he's using, it would have been a lot more effective to go positive. What is it that you need to overcome rather than what is it that you need to let go of? That way it would have actually meant that, okay, cool, like he's gonna play into that more, because every time I ask him a positive question, he plays into it. Every time I ask him a negative question, he doesn't like to go into that sort of frame, you know? But yeah, picking back up on that now would have been super effective.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, I think there's a few things like habits that I can let go of for sure. But I don't think they're like super detrimental. They're very, very like small, but they do have a bit. Drinking on weekends sometimes. Like I think that one's very, very easy for me to give up at this point. I mean, this past year I didn't really go out and drink that much, to be completely honest with you. So that was that's pretty much the only one to be honest with you.
Okay. The only reason I asked that is because as I piece the puzzle together in my head, like you're with that guy for 3 years, like you mentioned, it's insanity, bro. And that's not to take a dig. No, you're good. So that's not to take a dig at you. That's just to say, like, that's a long time to stick with someone who's giving you red flags. It's like, can you imagine being in a relationship with someone giving you red flags for 3 years? We all know someone who's done it, bro. Like, we all know that person.
I know.
Right? So, like, there's something that has stopped you from leaving a comfort zone before, is what I'm identifying. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. Like, I'm super fine with being wrong, by the way. If you want to say, like, Jack, you're
See the monkeys out there coming in for the cool review.
fucking bang out of order, mate. Like, you can say that as well. To me, what I identify is that, like, you had a comfort zone within a business. It's kind of like uncomfortable comfort zone where you're working with someone trying to get something moving, but it didn't really work. And so you stuck at it for 3 years. But ultimately, like, you know, would it be fair to say that 3 years is a little bit too long?
Oh, for sure. I think a main part of it. So like my circumstances were a little bit different for that one. So originally I'm from Denver, Colorado, moved to Austin, Texas after I graduated high school. And then I actually went out to school in Boston. So like when I moved to Austin, this guy was starting a bunch of different business ventures. I used to play football. So COVID happened. They sent us home from school because COVID season. I went to the Ivy League.
Sorry to cut you off, bro. I just didn't want to get too...
But you notice how I say, like, I put the pieces of the puzzle together for him so that I can summarize the conversation to get him to understand where my mind is at. Because he said this, none of it's adding up in comparison to the answers that he's given me now. So I need to challenge him. And to be honest, at this point, like, he's obviously overcome a lot of hurdles. He's gone through a lot of fires. And so maybe I was just challenging too hard and I didn't need to challenge as much, you know? Well, I'm always super skeptical because it means that people want to disprove your skepticism on them. That is how you get paid.
Go far off track. That's also, if we kind of look back around for a sec, like, what do you feel was the area that was actually keeping you in that business rather than allowing you to step out?
I was just in a new city, just trying to meet people. They've been here for years. Like, you know, I was getting to that. But essentially just trying to meet new people in the city. And also with sports not going on, it was a little bit more of a thing as all right, I have time, so this is what I'm going to do. And then I'm still in school for the other 2 years while I'm working on the business. So it's not like 100% of my time is dedicated to that.
Okay. And, you know, the likelihood is, brother, is that there won't be a time where 100% of your waking hours are dedicated to a business either, right?
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah. Because I don't want you to feel like I'm being rude or that I'm like being a dickhead for no reason. The only reason I say this, bro, is because what I see is like externally is like the problem. There is also an element of like, well, if you don't take the internals on, there's nothing that can change. Because ultimately, there's always those people who you're trying to meet in Austin, Texas. There's always the business partner that never, you know, put fucking shift in. It was always everyone else. Whilst that is okay to think like that, do you know what happens if you actually think like that?
You're essentially not taking responsibility for the results. And like, the results are the results. So I understand that, like, the decision that I made are also a part of those results, 100%.
Sure.
Like, that's 50% ownership. And so like looking back at it now, it's definitely a bunch of things that I'll change. But in all fairness, like I'm happy with how this has gone, because he's now said he's come into ownership of like, look, the decisions that I've made have got the results that I've got. So now he's at a point of like, okay, cool, like no one has, maybe he's thinking like, not necessarily no one, but people don't typically challenge like this on a day-to-day basis. So when you do offer that challenge, people are like, okay, it can be a little bit intrusive at first, but it also means that they then get a breath of fresh air, like, damn, okay, like it actually makes sense. When somebody has ownership, they now have control. When they have control, they don't give you objections or as many objections, because they actually take the steps of who they want to be, not who they are today, right? Because they can see it, logically it makes sense, emotionally they're in the right place. Everything is aligned to where they want to go.
I didn't discount that, but like with a business being like 50-50, there's not really like, and mind you, this guy's also like 20 years older than me. So that's a little bit of another reason why I was just like, all right, well,
let me ask you this.
Like, lead the way.
Yeah, of course. Let me ask you this, bro. Like, what is it that you need to take responsibility for that you haven't taken responsibility of up to this point?
I don't think much, to be honest with you.
Damn, awkward. This is what I mean. Like, definitely some things I would have changed. Yeah, I definitely would have changed that question into something more along the lines of like, look, at the end of the day, like, so if you outcast your responsibility, then you don't get it. Okay, well, how much responsibility are you now willing to take moving forward in comparison to how much you've taken? Full responsibility. Okay, cool. To be honest, I probably still would have asked that question, thinking about it, and just see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, the questions don't always get the response you're looking for, guys. Don't be fooled.
You don't think much with this, like nothing, because you can say like, bro, I'm fine either way. Like,
I honestly don't think there's anything like.
Okay, cool. Well, like,
at this point in the call, I thought I'd lost the deal. I'm not going to lie. I remember this exact thought process, like, fuck, I've just done so well and now I've lost the call.
if you feel like that's the case, then that's perfectly fine as well. Because there is one side where you actually step in and you are able to put yourself in a vehicle where you do actually do this. My question to you is like, obviously you want to do this to give back to your family. Are you just trying to keep this as like a side hustle, or are you actually trying to create this like full time?
I'm trying to get to the point where it becomes a conversation. Like, I'm trying to get to the point that's like comfortable and it makes sense, and then essentially just see how big that I can scale it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How big? What is the goal? Like, where do you see Marcus 2.0 actually earn?
I think the base level that I'm trying to get to out of it in this next year is that 20 to 30 a month produced from this vehicle. And then it becomes a conversation of, all right, how big can I scale this?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. And I imagine you've developed some kind of skills and talents along the way on how to scale companies with the line of work that you're in. Okay. So with that in mind, then once you're able to fully, if you hit 20 to 30K a month, or when you hit 20 to 30K a month, would that then put you in a position where you can leave your job?
For sure. I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily do it immediately, because like I said, the scale of the deals that I've done this year, I've worked on over $2 billion in revenue, and it's in like that tech TMT space, so the multiples on it go crazy. So I wouldn't leave immediately just because I'd like that type of work, but I could for sure leave my job if I wanted to. And I think realistically, it's something that like I would definitely consider for sure.
Okay.
But I still do like the work that I'm currently doing.
Yeah. All right, bro. Well, like, is there ever going to be a point when you leave? Like, if this falls in 100K a month, are you just going to like up and leave, or are you still going to continue?
I would probably leave. I mean,
okay. Yeah.
At that point, I would probably like, but I'm saying like, once I get to that 2030, it becomes a conversation of like, how big can I scale this? And then where do I need to put my time? Because like, at that point, that becomes a conversation.
Mm-hmm. I also recognize you mentioned $2 billion that you've handled over the last year a couple of times. Is that important to you? Like the amount of money that you actually manage with these businesses?
I think to a level and to a degree that
these questions are kind of redundant, and like this is where I feel like the call took a little bit longer than I should have. So in all honesty, it's probably worth just me skipping over some of these because they're not really the most impactful questions, but like I'm happy to, in fact, I'll just timestamp it and say like, this is definitely where you should skip. Because like at the end of the day, the reason that I ask these questions is because I'm trying to future pace him getting out of his job basically, but he doesn't even hate his job. So it's kind of like not a good idea to do this. And so for you guys, if you're looking at this thinking, damn, I'm doing the same thing, what you need to do is you need to future pace the idea of not his lifestyle, but him starting to listen to his intuition, him starting to go with how he feels, where internally he wants to go. That's what needed to be future paced, not the lifestyle, basically.
It does matter. Because again, like I've had these mentors say that, I mean, no matter the size of the deal, whether it's big or small, it's going to take the same amount of time. So like I've had some instances where, I mean, just examples where I've seen other people do or execute a deal that's like, maybe this company's doing $70 million in revenue a year, and that deal takes them a year to do. Whereas like there could be a company doing like 1.7 billion in revenue. They'll take them the same year to do that transaction. So I think there's definitely a level of it, and just understanding like how those transactions work is valuable. So it's important, but it's not the end all be all for sure.
Why is it not the be all and end all though? Because it sounds like a very promising career path, brother. Like with all due respect, you're clearly doing extremely well.
I don't know. I mean, again, like all I can speak to is like my intuition that's telling me that like I could be doing more. So like for context, like this job ended up, I started in January, but I had 6 months in between where I was doing a bit of a sales role. Love sales, to be honest. Like it was one of the most fun things I've ever done. Just random people on the phone, like just going back and forth with them. But it's really like, I don't know, just like iterating. I like building like different skills. So it's definitely a promising career, but I think all I can do is follow my intuition that's telling me that like I'm in a position that I can take on more. Because honestly, that sales role was probably more taxing than the role that I'm in currently. Because once you get a certain amount of reps in, like it becomes a lot easier and capacity frees up.
Just like the gym, right? It's like once you get the reps in, you actually understand how to work your way around the weights. So yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Do you feel that you act in alignment with your intuition, or you have been acting in alignment with your intuition recently?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, that's good to hear. And if that's brought you to this point where you're happy but not content, I imagine the goal is never to be content anyway, right? Like the goal is to always push past that.
The goal is to be abundant for sure. So.
Okay. Would it be fair then that something kind of needs to change along the line in terms of following the intuition? And if it's led you up to this point and you're not 100% fulfilled with where you're at, would it be fair to say that something somewhere, even if it's just super small, needs to change?
For sure. I think that's 100% fair to say.
Okay. What do you feel it is that actually needs to shift?
To be honest with you, I just need to be doing more, which is why I'm here today.
I should have said, if you knew that success was guaranteed, would you then listen to your intuition? So that the only thing then stopping you is what? The feeling that you don't feel you're going to be successful. That would have been the shortest, quickest route to go, just to nail this motherfucker down, because I know where I'm trying to go. I just couldn't articulate the questions. But now looking back at this is exactly what I would have done, because I fisted the conversation so well.
I know I can be doing more, so I'm looking for ways that I can fill my time to do exactly that and be more productive outside of just the work, because the work is just work at the end of the day. Like who really cares? It's work. It's a job. It's work. But understanding at that scale is super important to me. Again, it's just a skill set that I'm trying to develop a framework to go look at these things.
Sorry, bro. Like if I'm understanding it correctly, like the hurdle that you need to get around is actually just committing yourself to doing the work.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like before the work was getting good at the job.
Okay.
Now I'm there. I mean, there's always like incremental base level is there. So everything from now on is incremental, and it's not like the fundamentals are there.
Because there is one side where you do it, bro, and you follow your intuition, you actually put in the work. You hit 25k a month, you scale up to 100k a month, you can give back to your parents in the way that you want to. There is also another side where you don't. The way that I've always phrased this in my mind is like walking into the fire. On one side of this fire is you've got like Marcus 2.0, the one who steps into it and he's gone through it all, he's gone through the pain that he has to go through, he's got burnt as much as he can, not like from like a robbery perspective, but in terms of injuries and scars as you do through business, right? On the other side is where you're at now. And most people are happy to sell for this side of the fire. What does it look like if you don't actually listen to your intuition and you continue to stay on this side for you?
I don't think I could honestly, like, I don't want to say live with myself, because I'm sure I would find a way. But like just knowing that like.
But do you want to find a way though, Marcus? Do you want to find a way to live with yourself and you know that you're not living up to your full potential? No, why not? Boom, he's in my pocket basically, yeah? Okay, well if you do, then like what type of man will you actually see? Get him to look at the fucking identity that he will live in if he doesn't.
I can do more than not doing it, I think would be a hit. Eventually to the next step where it takes to like, all right, now you're able to do a little bit more again. If I didn't do it the first time, then when the second time rolls around, it's kind of forming a habit of not going through it.
Because how many more times can you go through that same loop before you just stay on one side?
That's my point.
Yeah, I get you, bro. Okay. And when you say that, like, you couldn't live with yourself, it's very interesting because ultimately you have a big ambition, clearly. You have a huge, like, idea of who you want to be and where you want to go. What type of man will you become by walking through the fire and getting to the other side once you put in the work?
I would say I've been through fires already, for sure. I would say.
Do you know what I mean? Like, no one's saying that he hasn't. This is like the high ego principle. I've already been through fires. Like, no one's saying that you haven't, bro. But who are you going to be once you take this next step?
More experienced and just more honed.
It's not to say that you. Sorry,
no, I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying. It's a tough question to ask. It's definitely a tough question to answer, because like realistically, you don't know. All you can do is show up, do the work, and then look back 6 months, 12 months, and be like, oh shit, I've grown. You don't really actually like notice it until you like stack it up and zoom out, and then look back. So like I can't give you a very like defined answer on that right now, just because I couldn't tell you. I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell you from some of the last experiences that I went through that I would be that person at the end. I had no idea. But I think, again, just I would be more experienced, more honed, and have another skill set that would be extremely useful for whatever is the next step.
Yeah. And it is kind of a big step, bro, not gonna lie. Like, you're going from a step of like employee, essentially, to business owner. Like, that is pretty fucking huge. You know, regardless of what stage of income you're at, whether you're at 10k a month, 50k a month, 100k a month, like, it's still going to be a big step to step out of that comfort zone again. You see, Marcus, like it comes with a lot of fear, hesitation, doubt. Let's say that what I show you today, you feel it can help, you feel it can be the fire you actually want to walk into. But you feel that fear, you feel that hesitation come up. What is it that you will do to make sure that that doesn't actually stop you being successful?
Pre-pitch hook. When I got taught this, it was one of the biggest needle movers to just remove any objections that somebody will give you. If you do this right, I've done it wrong many times, don't get me wrong, but if you do this right, this is literally going to print you so much cash you don't even understand.
I mean, again, it's like these are all emotions that like we can experience or we can choose to acknowledge and then continue to move past it. So, I mean, it's not like emotions are the master of what you do on a day-to-day basis. And once you realize that they pass through on a river and you can look at them, acknowledge them, and then continue to let them flow. That's pretty much all you really need to do at that point. Acknowledge it and then continue to walk.
Perfect. So if it gives me a fear objection, then I know, well, like, are you going to acknowledge it and let it flow down, or are you going to let it hold you back? You know, you can literally use that against them. Sounds fucked. Like, not use it against them, but use it in a way that helps them make the best decision for them. This is like super powerful. And you see how like it's a seamless transition to pitch. It's not like, yeah, I feel like what we do could work. Would you like me to run over the pitch and then like talk them through this super boring fucking pitch? It's just generally a part of the conversation. Use his words into my sentences to help move the conversation forward. That's actually a nugget, to be fair. That's actually a bit of sauce. Use their words in your sentences to move the conversation forward. This way, you're able to generate more leverage, more structure, and more emotion and direction in the conversation itself.
Yeah, it's a solid perspective, bro. I like that. I think it's so easy to get caught up in your emotions from day to day. And the more you analyze it and look at it, the more you realize how zoomed out you can actually become if you focus on not zooming in. Okay, because what we do could work for you, bro. And like, I'll keep it real with you. The reason why I say could is because it takes 3 areas to work with us. It takes time, it takes effort, and it takes investment. And I'll talk through what each of those mean. The time is going to be a minimum of 1 to 2 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yep.
So 7 to 14 hours a week. Can you commit to that or no?
For sure.
Yeah, okay. Effort-wise, I don't mean work rate. Like, to me, you don't strike me as a man who suffers with a problem of work rate. It's more reaching out when you need the help, putting out your arm if you need a lift up, and also fighting through that fear and that hesitation that we mentioned just a moment ago.
Yep.
If you can't give us 100%, that's okay. Like, are you willing to at least meet us in the middle and give us 50%, and we can give you the other 50 when you can't?
For sure.
Yeah, okay. The last one is investment. I'm sure you probably know yourself in merger and acquisition. Like, the more companies that you see invest into their own company, the more they start to grow. So it's like, the more you put in, the more you get out. And that is what I've personally seen of every successful person that's worked with us, is that they are willing to back themselves and they are willing to invest into themselves. You can't say no, like, based off if what we do makes sense. Are you willing to actually invest into yourself and back yourself?
For sure.
So now I've just hit him with the 3-pillar pre-pitch flush, right? Time, effort, investment. Are you willing? This is how much time it's going to take. Can you do that? Then he can't give me a time objection. Effort, I don't know, it's just like makes it sound sexy. Also holds them to a level. You can replace effort with anything, but like, investment is important. You don't have to say, you can, if you feel like they're unqualified there, you can drop in like, okay, how much is it that you're willing to invest? Or like, how much is it that you've got available to invest? I personally don't like to do it because you're already an hour into the call. So there's no point disqualifying someone. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just completely up to you. I have done it, and like, I have saved myself time before. I have done it and also fucked deals from it before. So, you know, maybe that's just down to me, but at the end of the day, like, this is what's going to be so important for you to understand these things. Because now, based off that call, what objections can he actually give me that's going to hold weight? Can't tell me that he needs to think about it, because he's just told me that he's got everything that he needs. He's willing to do everything that I've asked him to. He's willing to start listening to his intuition. He understands what happens when he does, when he doesn't. On a level, he's taken ownership of his actions. Like, what objections can he give me? Some bullshit objections, yeah. Can he actually give me ones that hold weight that I'm not able to handle? No.
Okay, brother. Well, shall we actually talk through it then and make sure that it's going to work?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. So
I won't let you watch the pitch because this is very like offer specific.
No, not at all. I mean, I know back in college we had a coach that literally told us he was like 70% of the battle was just showing up.
Yeah.
And more oftentimes than not, I've seen that that's actually true, because a lot of people just don't show up. So
it's true. The bar set's so low, bro. It really is. Yeah. You know, and it's good for people like us who come in and like, we just rinse it, because all we do is actually just put in the dedication that's required, you know?
Exactly.
Awesome, brother. And so obviously, if you're willing to put in the work, do you feel that what we've run over today can actually get you to a point where you are hitting like 20 to 30K months?
For sure.
All right, cool, man. Well, look, if you feel like that's the case, naturally the next steps then look like processing the investment now and get you on board. We can talk you through like how everything works. And then we can take the first step to you actually being at those 20K months. Are you happy enough?
Cool. Yep, sounds good. And you said it takes about 8 weeks to get the store set up, correct?
Exactly, bro. Yeah. By the time that we hand your store over, it's already generating sales there. The rule of thumb that we give is that it's about 1,000 to 1,500 roughly before we hand it over.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or what I do after every single pitch is I'm like, okay, cool. Does that all make sense? What questions do you have? Do you feel that if all you have to do is put in the work? Do you feel if all you have to do is put in the work that you can fail? No. Are you willing to put in the work? Yes. Why? Do you feel that if you put in the work, then you're able to get to the result that you want? Cool. Okay. That way I've got confirmation, kind of funneling them down into the close. It's the small things, motherfuckers. The small things that will get you paid. Done. That's how you get a high ego prospect to thank you at the end of the call. Literally seamless, right? No objections, no problems, literally discovery, future pace, consequent, pitch. There's layers between that we can dive into. Go check out a couple of my other YouTube videos if you want to learn more about that. But the most important thing is actually understanding, well, okay, how can I help this prospect understand a new perspective that they need to adopt in order to get the result that they want? You need to articulate and understand and digest and fucking accurately identify what they're doing that's not serving them. It's different for everyone. You can't just use the same process for everyone. In my opinion, if you want to generalize it, people don't want to take steps because they're risking their status, like this guy, right? Like big 10K a month fucking employee, 22 years old, thinks he's a baller. That's ultimately his issue, is that like he doesn't want to risk that status now, and now that's an issue. The most important thing that anyone can do is help them. Now, if this has been helpful, drop me a message on Instagram and give me your biggest takeaways, because I love to hear that you've actually learned something from this. That is what fills me up with joy. I'll upload cool reviews every so often to help you get more insights, and yeah, as we grow and develop, we'll get even more under the belt. So, ciao.